everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today it's time for a November plan with me video where we'll set up my Hobonichi cousin for the month and also flip through all the previous October pages. I know I'm super late with this video, but because of that I can also show you some weekly and daily page updates, so I hope a little bit longer video will be worth the wait. Anyway, first I want to show you all the products I'm planning to use this month. I kind of wanted to go for this witchy or celestial theme, and I didn't think I would have that many products to go with it, but once I started to dig through my stationery collection, I actually found so many products that fit this theme. So first, I'm probably gonna use some of my own Starborn collection products that you can get from my own shop, but I also gathered a bunch of random sticker sheets from Ikigai Papir. Then we have some of these sparkle and number stickers from Ciara Designs, and I also have a few new products from Henriette Arts. I just received a new package from her before I started filming this video, so I wanted to show you these Dreamcatcher stickers that I'm gonna use for this theme, and she also sent me these super fun brick wall washi tapes, which I've never seen before. I thought this was such a fun idea. There were also some products in her package that aren't released yet, so I can't show you those yet, but her shop as well as all the other shops and products I'll mention in this video are linked in the video description as always. I also pulled out a lot of washi tapes that I think go with this theme. I especially have these Moonlit Alchemy tapes from Notebook Therapy, and then some from my own collection, and I'm very excited to use some of these darker colors this month. But anyway, let's start working on the cover page now, which I used these extra pages for in the daily section. You'll see that my November pages are still very empty. I'm very behind on my calendar. I've had a crazy couple of weeks, and especially these past few days have been very work heavy. What's taken most of my time has been the new winter release products that I finally finished designing on Monday. I was quite late with the designs, so I don't know if the shop launch will be on Black Friday weekend as I had planned. There is a chance that it will be the week after, but I just had so much more designing to do this time than what I was prepared for. For example, there will be a new pet tape and 7 new washi tapes, of which 6 are very design heavy. And on top of that, there are a bunch of new stickers, so I hope you'll enjoy the new products when they finally launch. And I have my fingers crossed that my manufacturer doesn't have any surprise delays this time. But anyway, when it comes to the cover page, I was just kind of trying out stuff here. I didn't really have a plan before sitting down to film, so I was just pulling out different products from the pile I just showed you. I couldn't really come up with a layout, so I decided to get the November title out of the way because I wanted that to be quite a big part of this cover page. I used regular black craft paper and my white Uniposca marker to write this cursive November title, which I first sketched with a pencil off camera. And having the title definitely helped to place all the other items here. And then I just added some smaller stickers to the background and kind of all over the space, and finished things off with some small black sparkles. After the cover page is done, let's flip to the end of my journal where I have all my brush pen and ink swatches. I want to show you which colors I think go with these types of decorations, just to maybe give you some ideas for ink and pen colors at home. So first of all, I wanted to include some purplish colors, so I started with this dark plum Tombow brush pen, and then I took out this lighter color called Mist Purple. I'm also gonna use this lilac color later in the video, which is called Purple Sage, but for some reason I didn't show it in this clip. Then I think all my neutral gray pens are gonna go very well with this collection, so I pulled out my warm gray 1 and 2 and my cool gray 1, which are some of my most used pens, which you can see from the labels, which are almost completely worn off. I think a black pen is also a must for this theme, and then I also have my trusty sand color, which I think I use every single month. Then when it comes to my ink choice for the month, I'm actually gonna go with a basic black ink. I haven't done that yet this year, and I think black just works perfectly with these decorations. And I also kind of want to have a little chat about my fountain pens because I've now been using them for almost a year and I've kind of formed my preference and some thoughts about the pens I've gotten. I also happen to have a lot of fountain pen issues last month, which we're going to talk about later as well. So currently my favorite pen to write with is the Pilot Vanishing Point, which is this beautiful champagne pink click type fountain pen, and I have it in the fine nib, which I think is my ultimate preference. Japanese nibs are generally thinner than Western fountain pens, so that's something to keep in mind if you're shopping for different brands. And the pen I showed you last month, which is this beautiful Sailor Bro Gear white sparkly pen, unfortunately ended up being just too thin for my liking. It breaks my heart because it's the most beautiful pen I own and it wasn't cheap either, but I got it in the extra fine nib and I really regret that decision. You can see from some of these October pages that it's just very thin to the point that it's almost a little bit difficult to see the writing. It doesn't pop from the pages, especially when I use a lot of decorations around the writing, which is why I didn't really enjoy using it, to be honest. I also had some problems with this pen just randomly drying out, and I had to fix that by washing and re-inking the pen, and that's just a lot of hassle I don't want to go through in my everyday life, especially in the mornings. So towards the end of the month, I actually switched this green ink to my Pilot Vanishing Point just so I could enjoy the writing experience a little bit more. My second favorite pen is this rose gold Twispy Eco, which is quite affordable and I think it still writes beautifully. I actually have two of these same pens in fine nib, but my black one is noticeably finer than my white one, which is why I like it even more. If I got this pen today, I would get it in the extra fine nib, which I think would be perfect for me. So I have some regrets there, but at the same time, if I'm using a lighter ink color, I think the slightly thicker writing brings out those colors a little bit better. The good thing about the Twispy Eco is that it holds so much ink. So I realized that when I was using the Vanishing Point on the daily pages, where I tend to write quite a lot, I had to refill the ink like maybe once a week. You can see in the video how much smaller the ink holder is. I have a clear one, so you can see how much ink it fits, and it's literally nothing compared to the huge ink holder size of the Twispy Eco. With my black and white pens, I've never had to refill them throughout the month, even when I've written on my daily pages every day. But anyway, I think that's enough about ink and fountain pens for now. I just wanted to kind of share my overall thoughts about them. But now let's flip to the end of my journal where I have my theme overview page. I'm just very quickly adding some small decorations here, and since I didn't have a specific name for this theme, I just used this sticker from the same sheet I used on the cover spread. I think this sheet is from Kawaii Pen Shop. It's either from there or Paper World. I'm actually not completely sure. But after that, let's flip to the beginning of the journal and set up the monthly calendar page. I started here by using some TheCoffeeMosterzCo monthly kits for the weekday titles, and we are also gonna use their stickers here later. And after that, I added these dark gray number stickers to bring a little bit of color and depth to this spread, and then I used this celestial washi tape on the bottom edge, which is also from Notebook Therapy. I really like these celestial washi tapes I have, but I feel like I rarely have an opportunity to use them. After that, we're gonna add some decorations to the top of the spread as well. So I added some washi tapes and this black November title sticker to cover these extra days in the calendar, and then finished decorating by adding a little something to the top corner as well. When it comes to my monthly plans in November, my biggest task will be to prepare for the winter launch, which again is hopefully gonna happen around Black Friday, but it might be a little bit later. It really depends on when I get the products from my manufacturer, and unfortunately, I don't know that until like a few days before the launch. At the moment, shipping to the US and Canada is still suspended from Japan, which I'm so frustrated by, but there's really nothing I can do about it. So I try not to think about it too much. I just feel so bad for all of you who are from US or Canada and who would like to purchase my products. You together make about 50% of my customer base. So it really is quite a big impact. I'm honestly starting to lose hope a little bit because there have been zero updates or any news that this situation is getting better. So all we can do is just wait and hope for the best. But other than that, I'm looking at a pretty regular month. I'm currently in my second trimester, so if some of you still didn't know, I'm pregnant with our first baby. I'm definitely starting to feel a little bit better than I did in the early pregnancy, but I'm still trying to take it easy and not do anything extra that isn't, absolutely necessary. So I just basically add any big things to this calendar, like my YouTube videos and when I should start to film for them, and then some deadlines or information about my shop. And after that, we have the whole monthly calendar page done. I haven't been posting in my Instagram for a long time, so I didn't even bother adding a social media tracker here as I've done in the previous months. If I'll end up needing it, I'll just add it here later. So usually at this point we start to flip through the October pages, but since it's already November and I haven't set up my current weekly spread yet, I thought we could do that together. I think it's sometimes nice to show you how I usually set up the weekly pages, though to be completely honest, I've felt a little bit unmotivated towards these pages recently. I sometimes struggle to find a purpose for them, and I think it's kinda a lot of space for what I would need to use them for. But anyway, at least for the sake of this video, we're gonna make this spread a little bit more special, and I wanted to use some of these Ikigai Papir witch stickers here and match them with these purple and black colors. I often like to add some kind of weekly title or number stickers at the top just to add a little bit of color. And then I like to highlight roughly the lunch and dinner times with a light colored brush pen, which just helps me to visually time block the days a little bit. Then I usually set up this sidebar, which I've kept very similar throughout the whole year. So I usually add a few important tasks or something I need to focus on at the top. Then I follow it with a sleep tracker, and sometimes I add a third title for my hobbies, which is usually knitting and reading. I sometimes forget to use the sleep tracker, to be honest, and when we flip through the pages, you'll see that I especially don't tend to update my calendar during the weekends. For those of you interested, I'm currently reading The Black Wicket, which is a new book by Bea Northwick. I haven't had much time to read recently, so I've been stuck with this book for a while, but I really hope that I have some time to read this weekend because I'm itching to continue this one. And then when it comes to knitting, I'm usually doing a few different projects at the same time, but the main thing I've been working on recently is a zipper sweater for my husband, which I want to give him as a Christmas present. But after the sidebar, I just added a few decorations here and there. At this point, I tend to know pretty well which parts of the pages I use and where I can add a little bit bigger sticker. And the free space for me is usually towards the bottom and on the weekends. It was Thursday when I was filming this video, so I had quite a few days to catch up on, and I just basically wrote what I did this week. So on Monday, I finally finished all the final designs after a very long weekend of just sitting in front of my computer until very late at night. So that felt like a huge victory. On Tuesday, I just packed all my pending orders, went to the post office, and had a pretty chill day otherwise. And on Wednesday, I started filming this video, and we also had a baby ultrasound checkup, so that took a little bit time as well. And for the rest of the week, I'm just gonna finish filming and editing this video, and then I have a completely work-free weekend, which I haven't had in forever, so I'm very excited about that. After I fill in all the tasks and stuff, I usually fill out some bigger empty spots with some extra stickers, and I think for now this page is pretty much done. I don't see myself really adding anything more here later. We'll also fill a few daily pages at the end of this video, but before that, let's quickly do the October flip through, starting from the monthly calendar and ending at the daily pages. So in October, my monthly decoration theme was very Japanese fall inspired. I was using my own shop's fall collection, so I hope those of you who got the collection can maybe get some inspiration from these pages. Anyway, I had to move the November Plan With Me video because the winter designs took longer than expected, but otherwise I didn't really use the monthly spread much, so let's move on to the weekly pages. I did set up most of these weekly pages, but I'll say that I barely spent any time here this month. You can see that they are a little bit emptier than in many of my previous monthly flip-throughs. I do blame the pregnancy a little bit because I've generally been more tired than usual and of course not feeling my 100% self, so that has reflected on my work life as well. I've just been trying to eliminate everything that doesn't feel necessary. And my mornings have also been a little bit slower now, so because of that I tend to often skip journaling and just get straight to work to not waste any more time. But generally the weekly pages look pretty much the same. I wouldn't say that anything has changed here much, so now let's flip over to the daily section. You'll see that there are some empty pages here as well. It just is what it is at the moment. It does bother me to see those empty pages here a little bit, to be honest, but I'm just trying to go with what's realistic right now. So here, especially on the first daily pages, you can see how thin the writing with the extra fine sailor pen looks like. With all the decorations, I feel like you can barely see the text, and it was bothering me a little bit while I was writing as well. I do like the writing experience with the pen. It doesn't feel scratchy, but it definitely has a lot of feedback. So I would maybe compare it more to writing with a pencil rather than a very smooth ballpoint pen. So there was also this one spread where suddenly my pen stopped working mid-writing, even though I had just changed the ink, so I had to take out my black pen instead. And at some point this month I had had enough and just switched completely to my Pilot vanishing point. You can see how much more visible the writing looks like, and I think the pages look a little bit more balanced with the decorations in general. Otherwise, I don't have much to say about the daily pages this time. October feels like a complete blur to me. It felt very long, but I also have no memories of what happened. So flipping through these pages was actually kind of refreshing. And even though there are some empty pages here and there, I really like how most of the finished ones turned out. So it definitely doesn't feel like a complete failure of a month. On the last day of October, I used pretty much all the space here to write a small reflection of the whole month, which I really had to review the previous pages for to even remember what happened. But after that, let's just quickly flip through a few more pages in November, and I'll show you what I wrote here on Thursday morning before I sat down to film this video. So before we end, I just wanted to fill a few more pages here in the daily section, just for some memory keeping purposes. So I especially wanted to write about yesterday, so the Wednesday's page when we went to our ultrasound, because those are definitely some special moments that I wanted to record. So this is usually what I do if something memorable happened, but I didn't have time to write about it on that specific day. I just go back, maybe skip the to-do list and get straight to writing whatever I want. This time the most exciting thing on the ultrasound was that we could get an early guess from our doctor about the baby's gender, and it was also quite visible in the ultrasound. So it looks like we are most likely gonna have a baby boy, which we are very excited about. I really didn't care either way. In my perfect universe, I would have one of each. And of course, any combination would be very welcome as well. But it's just so nice to finally have an idea of who you're talking to when you talk to your baby, or when you just address him in general. So yeah, that was a very special and exciting moment. And otherwise, everything is going very well, nothing to worry about, which we are so grateful for. And I've also been feeling a little bit better, which has been great as well. So I used some of the Dreamcatcher stickers on this spread that I showed in the beginning of the video. And lastly, I also wanted to write something on this first day of November because I hated how empty this page looked next to the cover spread. So pretty much only for that reason I wanted to add something here too. So on this one, I tried to match the decorations a little bit with the cover spread, and I just wrote about what we did on this Saturday. We basically just watched the Dodgers versus Blue Jays baseball game, which aired in the morning here in Japan. And after that, I just worked the whole day until very late at night, which wasn't very fun or eventful, but at least I can say that I'm very happy with how the new products turned out. Looking back, I'm sure I'll appreciate taking the extra time to make them something that I'm really proud of instead of, speeding through the designing phase. So there will be a small new collection and an update and expansion to the Tiny Bookshop collection, which I've wanted to do this whole year. Some of those designs are almost 3 years old at this point, and there are just some things I've learned on the way and I've kind of wanted to change for a while. So I'm very hopeful that you're gonna enjoy the new additions and upgraded products to that collection as well. But I think that's finally it for this November Plan With Me video. I really hope you enjoyed watching this slightly longer video and maybe even got some inspiration for your own journals. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. And if this was your first time around here, definitely consider subscribing if you want to stay tuned for more art and journaling content. So that's all for today. I hope you're having a lovely day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye!